get to at least one email question before we go to break. And this is one that everybody has been talking about. Can my employer force me to wear a mask on the job or keep me from wearing a mask if I want to? Can I be fired for refusing the vaccine? That's such an important question, and it comes to us from Trey. And a lot of people are wondering just that, do I have to wear a mask? Is it going to affect everything?
Georgia is what's called an at-will state, right to hire, right to fire. So, we don't practice in this law. So unfortunately, or fortunately, Brittany's going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting on the show. But, my gut reaction just based on the law in Georgia is that, yes, your employer can force you to wear a mask or ask that you get the vaccine. And if you refuse right now, I'm thinking they can, they can say do it or don't work here. Brittany, what do you think about that?
Right. Now, you're exactly right. Georgia's an at-will state. And, that means that your employer can fire you for any reason. And that would include, not wearing a face mask, failing to when they require it, or the vaccine. Now, but there are exceptions to that. So even though an employer can fire an employee for any reason, the exception is your employer cannot fire you for an illegal reason. And the EEOC governs that. So as long as your employer is not discriminating against an employee, or, failing to provide reasonable accommodations, under ADA, then, everything else kind of goes. But that does kind of lead me to, another interesting topic, so as far as refusing the vaccine, there's going to be exceptions to that too. So if an employee has religious beliefs, sincerely held religious beliefs, or, they have a medical condition that would prevent them from getting the vaccine, then the employer is going to have to accommodate that. And that accommodation, it might be requiring, that the employee wear a mask instead of getting the vaccine. It might be requiring that the employee work in a separate area away from other workers. It could be working from home. It would just depend on the type of work that an employee does and whether their job can be done in a different manner that would not hinder the business and still allow the employee to fulfill their job duties. But, like I said, also, as long as there's been, some sort of reasonable accommodation. And I would really encourage employers and employees to have the conversation, and employees to ask their employer if there is another way, if they don't want to get the vaccine, or, if they don't want to wear a mask, but to have the conversation and interact with your employer. Most employers have an open door policy. They want to hear from you. And, I would encourage both employers and employees to have that conversation.